Joseph, welcome to MovieJunk. How are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Can't say how much an honor it is to have you on today. We have Joseph Russo joining us today, fans of the Paramount hit show The Offer. We know you as Crazy Joe Gallo.
Yeah.
In Academy Award nominated film, The Irishman. It's already one of my all-time favorites, as well as The Jersey Boys. I can't thank you enough for joining today.
Oh, no, happy to be here, man.
And I'd hate to, I want to jump into, obviously, right into The Offer, but I'd hate myself if I didn't ask, how it all started for you and what got you started into the business.
Anchorage, 1975. No, I was, my sister was an actor and I was always intrigued by it. I played baseball in college at Hofstra University. And after a year, I realized that I think I reached the apex of my career. And at 5'6", I wasn't going any further. And it was Division I, and so the commitment was intense. And I walked away from it. And my buddy just came up to me and was like, "I'm filming a short film. Would you want to be a part of it?" And I never did anything before. And I loved it. And I was like, yeah, and I just loved the camaraderie behind it. And I don't know, everybody was working as a team and I loved the pressure and I really enjoyed it. And then from then on, I started taking private lessons while I was at school. And then I had an idea that maybe I want to move to California. And the deal was I had to finish college. So after I got my degree in business, I was a part of their filmmakers club, and I was really involved in making films. I was into it. And so after college, I moved to California and I lived there for 11 years. And then that's where I got hired on Jersey Boys. And then I moved back to New York 8 years ago. And I've just been here now. Yeah, just doing the dance. If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't.
Definitely. Again, it's still, so much more that we're expecting to see of your works in the future. And it's already been a very impressive resume. So early on, before you actually got into acting, were there any movies or actors that kind of inspired you early on?
My family was pretty into movies and Broadway shows. And I was always influenced a lot by the arts. I know that I grew up on Raging Bull. I grew up on The Deer Hunter. I grew up on a lot of the classics, a lot of Honeymooners. My father and I used to watch the Honeymooners marathon on every New Year's Eve, like every Honeymooners. And I would say I was definitely influenced by, your Al Pacinos and your Robert De Niro's and Ray Liotta, rest in peace. Because those guys were so important because they allowed me to, it allowed my father to let me pursue it. My father would normally be like, "You're going to be an actor. No, you're going to work. You're not going to go be an actor." Or what is the, acting is for well-off people. You know what I mean? And I didn't come from like a well-off family. It wasn't like we were rich. So, but when he saw the De Niro's and the Pacino, like the people that influenced him, he saw street guys being actors, and he realized, he's influenced by those movies, and he enjoys watching those movies. He was a huge Anthony Hopkins fan, and so I watched a ton of Anthony Hopkins because my father loved them, still does, and those are man. That's men's men. What is it? Paul Newman. That's a man's man, you know what I mean? And so I was influenced by those guys because I appreciated them and they allowed me to pursue what I want to pursue, if that makes sense. And then as I got older and more involved in it, there's actors I see that blow my mind that I could watch all day. Christian Bale is one of my favorites. Who was the guy I was just saying the other day? Ben Foster. Oh my God, I liked him for years. I've always said that guy is so fucking good. He's so good. And then I just watched Survivor
Yeah.
That is on H.
Yeah.
That's an actor's dream.
Yeah.
What a role. He's so great. He's so great, and he honors the craft, and he's really
So committed to his role.
yeah, I love seeing that. I love seeing that. I mean, like it's like a Daniel Day-Lewis. It's like watching guys like that, you know. So those are like my influences, people that I look up to a lot, that I try to emulate and see. I mean, but I'm still in class. I go to class every Monday. I'm putting up scenes. I'm constantly trying to improve on it. It's very much a craft.
Yeah, no, definitely. And jumping into The Offer, and you play Crazy Joe Gallo, and we've seen a lot of representations over the years of Crazy Joe. Some really, really good performances. And I'm not just saying this because we have you on. I think you nailed the look the best out of all the representations that I've seen. The second, without even hearing the name of who this person was, I knew exactly it was Crazy Joe because of your eyes.
That's great to hear. Yeah,
Because of your eyes, I knew it.
I did a lot of work. Did a lot of picture work. When I was in California, I was lucky enough to be a part of this teacher, Jocelyn Jones, who she was a part of Beverly Hills Playhouse, and then she did her own thing, and that was run by Milton Gonzalez, who's fantastic. And she used his process and opened up her own studio, and we do a lot of picture work. So I went back to those days, and I got to LA like 3 weeks before we started shooting, and I went to her classes. It's being run by her assistant now, or another student of hers, this guy Manny, and he's just as great. And I was like, Manny, I need to do final work I need picture exercises. This guy really working on them, and then when I pulled back my hairline, that's when I was like, oh, there he is. Yeah, there he is. Because I couldn't find them. I put the mole on, I shaved it back, and then I was like, yeah, that's the guy. And it was weird, man. I went to his gravesite. I went to South Brooklyn. I talked to everybody. I studied him, and I fucking love him. I know people are like, he's a murderer. No, I thought he was fucking great. I thought he danced really well in that world. And I think he never got a fair shake, and he did what he had to do. But I love playing Joe Gallo.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. We're so, as fans, we're drawn to the mob genre. And again, like that's just a representation of how well, you did portraying the role. The same thing. It's like spoilers, after what happened the last episode, Crazy Joe, meets his fate. And, so I wanted to see more of Crazy Joe, but the selfish side of me was hoping that maybe we can get a season 2. And
I know people have said that, which is a compliment and a half, when they're like, oh, nothing to watch. And I like, that's a real, I mean, listen, the show was tremendous regardless, but that feels really nice when I hear that, because that was kind of what I wanted out of the whole thing, was that he was a real person. He wasn't a character. He was a real guy that he was tough as nails, and I thought he was really smart, and he's interesting. He was a celebrity down in the village.
Yeah,
the beatniks loved him.
Yeah. He kind of seemed like, he was doing the same things that, he was upset that Joe Colombo was doing, right? Like he was also, famous, and, he was kind of like a modern day, John Gotti. You'd see his face in the papers as well too. So yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's characters that are someone as legendary as that, there's only one way that they end up, going out in that world.
Well, in my own eyes, I think that, I don't know. All due respect to him and his family, or whoever sees, I don't know, whoever sees, but I think that he knew there was from what I've read and gathered, that there was a contract with everybody that said, if you see him, you don't need permission, kill him.
Yeah.
And he was throwing his birthday party. He was very out in the open, and Umberto's was owned by a made guy. Yeah. And they cut off his ties to, from what I read, whether I'm right or wrong, but they cut off all his money ties. He couldn't racketeer anybody, and he was running out of money. And he was with his new wife, and wife had a daughter. And I think that he was saving his image, and I think he knew he was going to go out. And I think that's why he went to Umberto's. Honestly, I swear to God, not saying that. I think it's like when somebody goes death by cop, you know, when they don't want to kill themselves, but they'll go out in front of the cops with the guns, hoping the cops kill them, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was kind of where I was at, that was his last meal. And I think he knew it. He was very smart, really smart. He knew. Not an idiot. He's a street guy. He knew. But I don't know. It's sad because I would love to see like where he would be now.
Yeah, I just recently visited Umberto's actually at the end of last year, and just walked around, and the waiters knew that I was just kind of looking around. I wasn't necessarily going to get served, and you just kind of it's obviously, it looks different now than
Yeah.
back in the 60s, but it's a tourist attraction. Folks love going in there because it was the famous
So that must mean something. I mean, people get killed every day. Nobody's going to the places that those people are killed. I mean,
yeah.
But it's a human life. So that was the other end of it, is that there was a wife that now is a widow, and there was a stepdaughter that now doesn't have her stepfather. So the life was gone. And, whether people think it's right or wrong, it was the life that was, the cards that were dealt to him. So he was trying to make the best of it. And I truly believe that he was dancing really well in that world. He's not a fucking, I'm sorry to curse. He's not like, I just defend him very much so. And I defended him. I found reasons of why he was right in everything that he did. I don't know. I mean, that was his world. He's not a normal civilian.
Yeah, and also too, the offer, the actual show itself, I know it was in production for a few years before we finally got to see it. I'm curious to kind of learn, when did you first hear about the role? How did you know there was a Crazy Joe Gallo role, and kind of what did you do? It sounds like you did a lot of prep beforehand as well.
Yeah, I mean, I got word from a buddy. The guy who I wind up killing was my friend, James Matteo, who plays Carmine.
Love him. Yeah, he's a great actor.
He's a great friend. He's a really good friend. And he was like, hey, you need to look into this part for Joe Gallo. And he's like, you look like him and you could be, he's like, I know you're real deal. You would pay homage to it. And I called up my representation, and they're like, been on it for a while, waiting to hear. And so I did 2 reads, and then I got a call that the director, Adam Arkin, who directed my first episode, so episode 3, 4, he did 2, 3, and 4, or 3, 4, and 5, 3, 4, 5, and I met with him, and right when I met him, we just really vibed. And I did another read for him, and he was like, you're my guy. Let's just hope you get approved. And I got approved. And then I started immediately. Like really intense work on the history of it, and him and all that, and really trying to get him down on who he was. So.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it, and then some. And, I actually do the offer kind of like watch parties, at my place. And there's a few of us that sit down and watch it, and we get so excited when we see Crazy Joe, and we saw the.
Oh, that's nice to hear, man. Thank you so much.
For a few people that come over, you're their favorite character, and I was like, sure, you want the hitman to be your favorite boss? And like, no, that's Crazy Joe's the guy. I know for me, I'd always want to be Al Ruddy, and I want to be the producer. You know what I mean? But most
a lot of headache it seemed like he had to deal with.
I know, yeah. And the scene that obviously the famous dinner scene where you get executed, Jake Cannavale was the one that whacked you, who's the son of Bobby Cannavale, who was also the Irishman, Skinny Razor. Well, too. What was it like shooting that scene and working with him on the show as well?
Well, Jake, Jimmy, and I spent a lot of time hanging out. Like, we really got along. It was funny. On the offer, it was like the mob people, and then there was like the movie people, and the two worlds really, because they don't really intertwine, other than a little bit with Teller and me, and Teller and Columbo are the only Teller and Columbo, the ones, and Ribisi are the ones that really are in the mix with each other. But other than that, we so Anthony Scorti, who plays Carlo Gambino, Jimmy Matteo and Carnivale, we really would get lunch all the time. We would hang out. So when he came time for him to kill me, it was fun, man. It was really fun, and it was really we talked about it, and there was a lot of jokes. And then after I killed Caesar, the vibe, I wasn't liked. Everybody loves Jimmy Matteo, and after I killed him, I was like, wait a minute.
You're so likable.
Everybody needs to relax for a minute. What am I supposed to, like, I didn't do nothing. There was like a vibe where people were a little pissed off that I was the one who offed them.
I think because we lost him so early, we were hoping to the end, because he was great, right? But I think
he was real deal, man. He's such a gentleman. He's such a good guy, good man. He really looked after me right when I got there, introduced me to everybody, so I wouldn't, feel a little overwhelmed. That's a big time set. That's a big deal set there. And so he like from the airport, from the time I landed to the time that he left, we were hanging out all the time, and it was a real good guy. So I was sad to kill him, but I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah, and with this show as well too, I mean, it's very rare that, and again, this is my opinion, but it's very rare that every character just seemed on point, whether it's the look and the performance as well too. Like Giovanni Ribisi, I mean, he's an amazing actor, but the look was just perfect.
I loved what he did. Some people were like, "Oh, I don't understand." I loved it. It was like his way in. Yeah, and I get it. I don't know. I worked with him, but we didn't talk. I wouldn't dare to talk to him about character choices while I was there. I thought it was fantastic. It was committed, and what a hard worker. I mean, he didn't break character at all, even in between shoots. We were just talking. He had that voice like that, and I'm like, man, this guy is real pro. I've always been a fan of his, like always. Yeah. And that sealed it for me. And it was like, after I read the script, the first script, episode 3, that I appear, I called up, I talked to Nikki Toscano when I got to the set, and I go, it's the best mob depiction of subtleties that's the most real that I've ever read. You read scripts and you're like, man, it's a little over the top. Like everything is like a little much. This was like so against that, and I loved it. And it gave you freedom to fill in the little bit that you wanted to, and also pull back where you wanted to. And it was like, I think sometimes people get it wrong. The Godfather didn't get it wrong, but it was like, I think sometimes people get it a little wrong, because it's like, you're there, you're the guy. You don't need 30 gold chains, and like, you're the guy. You're good. And so that right when I read that script, I was like, man, this is so brilliantly written. I was so so fucking excited to be a part of that whole project. It was really great. Really, really great.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm a little bitter because I know we're getting close to the end of the show, and yeah. I want more, right? And again, I'm selfishly hoping that we can, learn about the making of Godfather 2, because there was also some stories in making that film as well too. It wasn't sunshine and rainbows, but Francis did say that it was completely different. But like, for example, us not getting Marlon Brando, I like to hear kind of like what happened there. How Al Pacino changed from the further. There's a story with De Niro coming on board. Imagine if they can bring in for De Niro as well. But as far as since we touched on The Godfather, do you have a favorite out of the trilogy? I'd love to hear.
Yeah. Well, first off, I don't know if you've ever gotten a chance to see Godfather Epic, and it's all 3 of them in chronological order.
With the deleted scenes too, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Such a good movie. I mean, it is the perfect movie. My favorite, no question, is 1. For me, no question, is 1. And 2, 3, sorry, didn't do it for me. I apologize, but seeing, I love Andy Garcia, but seeing Andy Garcia on a horse, Joey Zaza, yeah,
Zaza.
It was a little much for me. 1 and 2 to me is one movie.
Yeah.
You know, because they bleed right in. It's 1 and 2. But 1, I could watch 1 over and over. I do. It's so good. So good. And I never really understood it up until like I got older. I was like maybe probably bored by it, if anything, but I was always like, it was always on in my family. I'd like things. It was always, and then I would be like, yeah, I guess it's cool. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, like I got it.
Yeah.
And wow, this fucking movie's great. Now I get why everybody talks about it.
Yeah, we just recently had the privilege of interviewing Patrick Gallo, who plays Mario.
Oh,
Puzo.
he's such a good guy. I work with him. I know him well too. He's great.
He's awesome too. Yeah, and he had just mentioned that because I asked him the same question as well. Actually, I asked him, does he remember the first time he watched The Godfather and what were his favorite film out of the trilogy? And he was just mentioning that it was kind of like an Italian rite of passage to watch The Godfather. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't dare say no. I never seen The Godfather.
Oh no. Yeah, no, definitely. I personally toggle between 1 and 2. It's tough, but I do love watching the epic just because it does go in chronological order, and you get more of what's in the book. That's in there as well too. So
yeah, the book's fantastic.
Yeah. And I hate myself I didn't jump into the Jersey Boys, because you play one of my all-time favorite, the real guy. You're playing the guy himself, right? And Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
Directed by Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, that was a thrill.
What was it like first just being directed by Clint Eastwood? That's awesome.
Yeah, that was like my first big thing that that was really special. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. He's like a grandpa. Mm-hmm. And that's no disrespect whatsoever. He's like, you immediately feel the love. However, you immediately feel like he's very like, he's the guy that you could see gets up at 6 a.m. and gets fully dressed, even if there's nothing to do. And he'll watch TV fully dressed ready for anything like that. But was so warm and made you feel so comfortable, because I believe it's because he's an actor as well. And he realizes that creativity only can come out of feeling not criticized or not like judged. And, I really prepared for that role. That was a fun, I never knew anything about that. So that was a whole thing. But, everybody's like, oh, well, I heard you only get 1 take with Clint. I don't think so. I just think that he expects you to come prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting paid. This is your job. I don't have all day, on you. So let's get it done. But I only did a 1 take, 2 take for all of my scenes. So because I was so nervous that I wanted to, but I truly believe that if you didn't get it, he would do another take. I don't think that he never felt like, you got to get it on this thing. Yeah. But there were things that I brought into that to like Joe Pesci-isms that I wanted to do that I just did, and he loved them. So he was fun, man. I got 20 days to work with him, and those 20 days I'll remember forever. Really great guy.
Yeah, and what I liked as well too, because because everyone knows Joe Pesci from the mob films, right? Goodfellas, Casino, Raging Bull, and the way that he talks and portrays himself in these films, it just seems like it's nowhere near who he was back then, right? So I didn't want to see Joe Pesci impersonation, and it just sounded so natural. Your performance was so natural. I was like, man, I feel like I'm just going back in time right now and watching this.
That's so nice to hear. Thank you so much. Very kind. Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, is I didn't want a caricature. I just wanted to pay him homage. I really wanted homage? I wanted to pay homage to Joe Pesci because he was a huge influence of mine, and I just felt like all those things that we see, like Funny How, all those things, and Leon Getz from Lethal Weapon, where he's like, okay.
The cell phones.
Yeah, like I feel like all those must have come. They weren't in the script. There's no way. So they were choices that he must have drawn from things that he did when he was a kid. You know, like in his life, maybe he knew a guy that was like, okay. And he used that. So I wanted to just throw that in a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, he's I was fortunate enough to have dinner with Joe Pesci. Him and I got along really well. And I really he was pissed at me because I didn't contact him when I did The Irishman, because to be honest, I knew what he was on the path doing something really special. And I don't want to be that guy. You know, I just figured if our paths cross, great. If they don't, it's still great. It's okay. And you motherfucker, why didn't you call me up? I would have fucking,
man.
I don't know. I don't want to, you know, I understand how delicate, especially for him. He's an artist. He's a true artist. And people have their process, and I'm not going to be one to step in the way. It's like, you know, even when I did this, I kind of just did just leave me alone, kind of let me just try to find it and find my world. So, but he was, I was so special to be able to play him. And I hope I played him well. I mean, you know, you only do what you do and you hope that the director likes it, and that's it. I can only base it off if Clint didn't like it, he would tell me. And then we move on. I can't, you know, I can't worry about, I have to trust him. He's my boss. He's my director. So,
yeah.
And I guess it was okay, you know.
And again, you answered my next question, is that if you connected with Joe, you know, obviously in, you know, preparation for the role, but I'd love to hear after the movie came out, what was his feedback to you? Or did you?
Well, that's when I met him.
No, that was it. Okay, perfect.
That's when I met him.
Yeah.
And you know, when I got cast, I tried like hell to get in touch with him. I was like, I wanted to know what were you like at 16 years old. I don't fucking know who you were at 16 years old. And I wasn't able to. And I did as much research, and I found some pretty interesting stuff. And I talked to everybody, and I was just trying to get something. And then when I met him, I know he doesn't like that role. He doesn't in general. He feels, I think when he went to the Broadway show, the person that they had was really short. And I talk like this. Oh, yeah, you're going to do that. And I know he wasn't happy. That's what I heard. And so when I met him by chance, I was honest. I was like, Joe, I tried getting in touch with him. I hope. And he was like, no, kid, you did really good. So he was happy with everything. And I was happy that he was happy with all of it. But I told him, like, you can't, he doesn't have a cell phone. Guys,
I've heard that before. Someone else has
a cell phone. You have to find his manager and get it. I'm like, John, I was trying to, you know, I mean, and he was happy with everything. So I was happy, and that was it. And then we didn't talk about it again.
Yeah. And yeah, obviously, you know, he was phenomenal in The Irishman. You know, loved his
man. Subtle, like this cut you off, man. He was really good.
No, definitely. Yeah, I mean, and it was just an unbelievable performance. And I walked out of that film like really trying to debate, like, is this his best performance? Like, because we had never seen him, you know, this, you know, at this age. And also they also made the character older in that scene where it's like, don't laugh, you'll see. And like, you just had, I don't know, I kind of had a tear at that point, because like our legends are, you know,
they are.
So yeah,
it's weird. And so well, I'm here. I'll be here. I'll take on the reins for you. No worries.
We're excited. We're excited for that. Yeah, we're excited for that. And I mean, I'd love to hear if you're allowed, you know, to share some of your upcoming projects, or what else can we see you in next? Because you can't leave us after what we just saw in the offer. We need more.
Yeah, you know, I've been reading a bunch of scripts. I write a lot. Honestly, there's something in the works. We'll see what happens. I can't talk about it, nor, no offense to you, I don't like to talk about it, because these things, there's so many uncontrollables in this industry that, you know, my class was just I take this class with Lyle Kessler, who's the author of Orphans, and he has like a master class, and he's been like a real mentor to me. And Chaz Palminteri was our teacher 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And I was fortunate enough that I got to do a scene in front of him, and then he would give us a little insight. And before he left, he said, this industry, you guys are all good. There's just so many things that he's like, I see people all the time and I'm like, wow, she was the best actor I've ever seen, but she's not right. Sometimes you're just not right, but there is something in the works. We'll see what happens. And if so, it will be quite funny because of who it is. And then there is, I don't know, potentially I may see Joey Gallo again, maybe. In some, not in the offer, but there is, we'll see. There's so many things, but that's what's happening. But I have nothing in stone right now. So, but soon there will be.
This might be a dumb question, but did you consider auditioning for The Irishman as Crazy Joe? Was that
is a dumb question right now. Irishman was interesting. I had a show called Small Shots. I don't know if you've ever gotten a chance to see it or heard of it. My buddy Jeremy Luke and I created the show about two guys fish out of water from New York, trying to act, being actors in LA, fish out of water guys. And it was actually on Netflix, and then it went to Amazon Prime. I heard that now it's on Vimeo. I'm not sure. It was something we created, and Justin Shack is a writer, and Lev Iden wrote it. Both of them, and Justin shot it, and Jeremy and I were in it. And in the show, it's a 10-episode show that the through line is trying to get a part in a Martin Scorsese movie. And the only way you can is you have to reenact the scene. For the audition is we want you to send in a tape. So we did shot for shot the casino scene when they're in the desert, where I don't know where you get off talking to people about me behind my back going over, and I play Joe Pesci and he plays Robert De Niro, and we got fucking cast in Jersey Boys from that fucking thing.
Wow.
Insane how art imitates reality. Insane. And then when The Irishman came out, our representation sent over that clip, and we got offered the parts of the Denzetta brothers, who were the guys that cremate Jimmy Hoffa in The Irishman. Mm-hmm. And the part got cut down, but it was an honor to be there. And so I never even thought about the Crazy Joe Gallo in that movie. I never really knew much of, I think a lot of it was offers that was out to people. So yeah, that was just a part. They said, Marty loved the thing we sent him, and he wants you guys to play the Denzetta brothers. And that was that. So what an experience that was. That was tremendous.
Definitely.
Yeah, full circle. Strange.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, you can't turn down any part, from a Martin Scorsese movie. So you get a part and you just want to go for it. And no, that's definitely, because the first thing I said to myself, and I loved Sebastian's performance, he was awesome too. But like when I saw you in the offer, I was like, I wonder if he auditioned for The Irishman. That would have been interesting to learn about as well.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think I would have been able to handle that. I don't think I was I don't know. I was much younger. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know as much as I know now, I think. I don't know if that sounds like narcissist. No, I've learned so much since then.
Yeah.
That part, I know Sebastian. Yeah. We're not like best friends, but we know of each other. And I thought he did great. He wasn't given a lot, and I thought he did what he had to do. I enjoyed watching him, but it was interesting because I thought about that. I was like, I don't think I could have I wouldn't even known how to handle a role like that, being how old I was when I shot that. Yeah.
And also too, it made what we're seeing today in the offer more rewarding as well too, right? Because who knows if this role would have came about. So yeah, no, definitely. I think for the sake of
I agree with you. Yeah. So it all happens for a reason. You just gotta trust it.
And I also love asking the actors, is basically when you guys are not working, what are you guys binge watching? What are you guys binge watching? That's not a show that you guys are on. Love to hear.
The classifieds in the paper to find the side job. I'm bid reading who's hiring for anything. I need to do something. What am I watching? I like watching movies. I love movies, but I saw a movie last night, The Worst Person in the World. I don't know if you ever heard that.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, I've heard of it though.
Oh man, it was wonderful. What a great film to watch. What I binge? I did. You know what I did? I did Walking Dead recently. I never saw it.
Nice.
Then I want to see it.
Nice. Yeah,
Really great show. Trying to watch. I try to watch as many movies as possible. I just love getting. Fucking Bob Evans says it the best. It's literally like you go to a different planet. I do, at least. I get totally lost when I watch a movie.
Yeah.
I can't deal with people talking like I'm like in that world. And so I try to see as many movies as physically possible whenever I get a chance. But I also don't want to be like a creature inside watching movies. And I like to just be out and look at people and observe and just see, because we're losing our imagination.
So we're excited for all these upcoming projects, and hopefully we could see another portrayal of Crazy Joe down the road, and some of these other projects once you can speak a little bit more to them. But we'll use that as an opportunity to bring you back for round 2.
Oh my God, I would love that. This has been great. I mean, you've been nothing but complimentary towards me, and it's I don't know how to react sometimes, because I just feel like that it was an honor to be a part of it. I think the show was really good. The Nikki and Russell were, I guess it starts from the top, and they shared such a positive, welcoming attitude that it bled on everybody. And it was so upsetting when I had to leave for the day. I wanted to be there all day. I could have been there for 27-hour shoots. I don't care. I was so happy. It was just, we were all on to something, and I don't know what it was. And maybe I'm speaking out of line, or maybe I'm a little full of myself or whatever, but because my part was small, but we were all on to something. And it was like the energy was so creative, and we all had the freedom to just move in that world and see, like how Coppola says they need to move. The actors need to walk around when they're trying to write. That's how like I felt, like that we had the freedom to walk around. And what are you thinking on this? What's your take? Even like Rabisi, like Kim and I spent so much in between takes talking about what intentionally, like what is our thing going on, and it was just wonderful, and so to come here and you say like how much you enjoyed watching it, that means a lot, because I know that the work was put in, like we all really honored it, and we honored what we were doing. I felt that. Whether or not it's true, I don't know. But for the people that I worked with, Matteo, Cannavale, Ribisi, Anthony Scorti, even Rispoli, who plays Lucchese in it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was just on to something. There was a vibe. And Teller, what am I talking about? And Miles Teller, it was so great. It was great. It was just a great, maybe it was me being all giddy because it was an acting gig and I was happy to be there, but it was really on to something special, Yeah. And it was nerve-wracking because they didn't have vaccine mandates in Los Angeles at the time. And so I would shoot, go home where I was staying, and I would just be in this world, and I'd go golfing.
Yeah.
And then I would the next day shoot, go home, and I wouldn't leave this world that I was in. with Joe Gallo, and it was a wonderful world. It was good.
I made a joke to Patrick Gallo on our last interview. I let him know, I was like, I think Paramount, I'm going to start charging them commission because I feel like I've gotten like 20 people to subscribe to Paramount and watch The Offer.
Yeah, you should get it. You should pull a racketeering gig. You should get a cut.
Because it was like 8 or 9 a few weeks ago, and now that's like more than doubled. And they're like, oh man, this show is amazing. And also, I've been doing, to cut some subscriptions. People have been coming over here, and we've been doing watch parties. So it's probably more like 30 people.
If I was you, I would call them up and say, who do I need to talk to? Because I need some Scott Oles here.
Scott Ole, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's such a good show. I mean, I think it's like an 87% on like IMDb, or 8.7 on IMDb, which is
that's pretty good. I heard they're pretty brutal on their critics. So
yeah, that's a really high score for an IMDb score as well too. So love the show. Again, I'm selfishly rooting for a part 2, and yeah, I know we're definitely hoping that we can get some more crazy.
That would be cool to watch. That'd be cool to watch, and also other shows to do it. That whole concept on how they made it, but I think that this one was just a little different.
Yeah, it was, because I mean, I'm very hypocritical of the genre because I'm a huge Sopranos fan. Anything mob related, Boardwalk Empire, these shows.
Yeah.
I'm trying to always watch something different, and I was just immediately consumed. It was just a different type of dialogue. It was a different a take on what we've seen on the mob as well too. And I mean, I loved every part of it. I'm gonna rewatch from 1 to 8 again, just because I want this ride, the roller coaster, to last a little bit longer. But
no, that's really nice to hear, and I'm going to be with you on that. I'm going to rewatch too, because I've enjoyed. I can only watch alone the first time I see an episode that I'm in, because it's very weird for me to watch with other people around, because I don't know how to react, and I have to. It's private. It's a private experience for me alone to either celebrate something that I like, that I saw, because I would never do that in front of other people. That's just not my personality. And I truly looked forward to Wednesday, and knowing that I'm going to be up till like 3 a.m, or setting my alarm to get up at 3 a.m. and turning it on and having like an alone experience watching it. My girlfriend would always come up and watch it with me. I live with her, and she would get up, and she tried, but she'd be asleep. And I'd be like, yeah, go to sleep. We'll watch it tomorrow. Don't worry about it. I'm going to watch it. I enjoy watching it, and I miss it. But I'm truly honored to be here talking to you, and I'm honored to be a part of that. So I'm glad you enjoy it.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And thank you again for making the time to kind of share with the fans your journey. Really appreciate it.
No, greatly appreciate you taking the time. I was surprised when you said that you wanted to do it. And I was like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I? What kind of person would I be to say, oh, no, it's the Ranger game? No. I'm curious to see what the score is.
Appreciate it. Joseph,
thank you. This has been a true pleasure. I really appreciate you taking the time as well. So this was fun.
Awesome. We'll stay in touch, and also take care.
Please do. And I'll let you know if that other thing, those secret things are coming out. We'll see.
I can't wait.
Crossed.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We'll talk
soon. Thank you, man. Okay. Take care. Have a great night.
You too. Take care.